Hi, welcome back to A Closer Walk. I'm Irvin Kimball. I'm your facilitator for our Experiencing God series. Today we're on Unit 9, Day 5. That's page 192 in your member guides and page 259 in our youth edition. Today we're going to be talking about some questions and some answers. But our memory verse is John chapter 14, verse 23. And Jesus replied, "If anyone loves me, he will obey my teaching. My Father will love him, and he will come to him and make our home with him." John 14:23. You see, God never gives you an assignment that he will not enable you to complete. That's a comforting thought. That lets you know you can never get in over your head as you obey God. But let me ask you a question. Have you ever thought about how or why God works so slowly perhaps in your life? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Have you ever felt a little bit impatient and wanting to see God do more quickly? Well, John chapter 16 verses 12 and 13 kind of speaks to that as Jesus speaks to his disciples. Here's what he said to them. He said, "I have much more to say to you, more than you can ever even bear. For when he, the Spirit, is come, he will guide you into all truths. He will not speak of his own, but he will speak only what he hears, and he will tell you what is yet to come." You see, the disciples were not yet capable, nor were they ready for all that Jesus had in store for them. How his intimacy was not being given to them because they weren't ready. See, being ready to receive will determine what is given to you and when. That might help you when you say, "Lord, hurry up." Because you see, God is moving as fast as your life will handle it. You see, we are the ones that determine how quickly God wants to move with us. May I ask you a couple of questions? This is question and answer time. Here's the question. I'd like you to ask yourself the question, am I doing all of what God has already told me to do? Take a moment. Think about it. Another one might be, I'd like to ask you is, have I obeyed all of his will that I know to do? Question. Try this one. Do I really believe he loves me? Or do I believe all that he does in my life is right or is the best thing for me? Ask yourself the question, am I willing to patiently wait, and while I am waiting, continue to obey? See, you might want to ask yourself the question, why does God not give me a big assignment? Let me give you a possible answer. First of all, foundation is needed before you can handle a large task. You need the foundation that comes from knowing him. Even further, are you thinking, okay, God, just give it to me. I can handle it anyhow. Well, you remember Peter in Luke chapter 22, verses 34 and 35, when Jesus came walking on the water. He said, "Master, suffer me to come to you." And the Lord let him walk on the water, and he wasn't ready. That was a God-sized task. See, the servant has to wait on the master to entrust him or her with the task. You see, the master is the one that senses when the servant is ready. Another thing that might help you is that waiting shapes character and allows you time to develop so that when the God-sized task comes your way, you will be able to handle it. And then, of course, you need to know that God is far more interested in accomplishes his kingdom purpose than you are. He is much more invested in doing kingdom business than you could possibly be. So therefore, he knows when is the right time and what's the right task. Let me give you another question. And this is a good one because I'm sure you may have thought about this, and that is, have you ever asked the question, what is happening when I obey God and the door closes? I do what he told me to do, but then things begin to happen. Circumstances seem to be opposing what he told me or what I believed he told me to do. A good way to put that is, what's up when things go wrong? Well, maybe God is saying something. We think that perhaps when we'll come up with a thought that maybe God didn't want me to do that. Or you might even think, I guess that wasn't really God's will for me.